Welcome everybody to the Latin Nerds Network. My name is Jose and this is my review for Avatar: The Way of Water. A movie, it seems like it's been 50 years in the making here. I think the original Avatar came out in 1975. I don't know. It's been so long and most of us have probably forgotten about it or got to a point where we didn't even care to see a second one. Seriously, it's been about 13 years, 2009 when the first one came out, of course, which became the biggest film in box office history worldwide in terms of box office. And it's a movie which I really enjoyed. I mean, it's not, the greatest film of all time. It's not a movie I loved, but I enjoyed it. I liked it for what it was. It had its issues, yes. I know this is a movie that the internet just loves to hate. It's very derivative and Ferngully, Pocahontas, whatever. And yes, it's all true and I get it. But it was a true movie going experience, right? Particularly from the sense of a technological standpoint and what he gave you on screen, the CG that was used, and the 3D was fantastic, right? And there's a reason why people just kept going in theater because it wasn't the story; it was really the experience of seeing this in the big screen. Because watching it at home, it just isn't the same, to be honest. So it's one of those few films that watching at home, you don't get as near as much out of it as you did by going to the theater, and it's no different here. Now, this is one where again, I was looking forward to. I liked the original one. I was had I was cautiously optimistic because I did hear good things leading up to me watching it tonight. But it's James Cameron, and Cameron you trust. Every time people want to doubt Cameron, he comes out and just drops another big movie, right? Would it be Avatar, Titanic before that? Of course, he has done movies like Aliens, Terminator 2, True Lies, all kinds of good stuff, right? But so I was excited about it because I like him as a filmmaker. I love him as a filmmaker, to be honest with you. And I'm glad to say that this movie is better in every aspect than the original was. I'm not saying it's great, that I loved it, but I really enjoyed it. It's very well made, much improved. Not just from a technological standpoint, from just the storytelling as well, and that's a good thing. So, but yeah, listen. Obviously, let's get the obvious out of the way, and I'll echo what everybody else is saying about the film. Yes, it looks incredible, right? Going back to Pandora and Cameron focusing on giving us a different part of the world that he built back in 2009, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I got to see it in 3D, and it's really, I think the only way you should probably go see this movie if you have plans to go watching it. Find the biggest screen. If you can get 3D, get 3D. And I hate 3D normally. I mean, it's been years since I've seen 3D film, but here it works, and Cameron really knows how to use that effectively. Particularly when it gets to the underwater scenes, and they're absolutely gorgeous. The stuff that he does here, it looks fantastic. And again, in the big screen, you get so much more out of it than you would watching it at home. So from that sense, yes, it's amazing. Just looking at it, it's beautiful. The colors, the textures, the detail, it looks so realistic. It's amazing how much the improvements over the first film. The first film at the time looked fantastic, right? But from a story side, I think it's better. Here focusing more because Jake Sully. But now he's a family man. He's a father now. He's got, I think, 4 kids or 3 kids, 4 kids. I'm sorry. So now the movie focuses from just him individually to something more universal themed. I think a lot of people can relate to, and that's family and him now in a position where the sky people are back. Humans have come back to Pandora, of course, inevitably. We got the Colonel played by Stephen Lang. I forgot the Colonel's name, but of course, who was a baddie in the first one. He's back here. They found a way to bring him back, and it worked for the most part. It was fine. But now he's going after him again. So now he goes off in hiding to protect his family, and ends up in this meeting hiding out with a new, race of Navi. I guess the reef people. They live out in these little islands in the water and all that. And that's when the movie really kind of takes off. I think that second act. And what I like about it is that it introduces a lot more characters, a little bit deeper this time, particularly the kids. The kids are great, and that's funny because the movie really focuses on them, particularly in that second act. It's really their movie, like Jake Sully and his wife. I got to played by Zoe Saldana. I forgot the name of the character, but they're kind of in the background for the most part. They're still there, but really it's the kids that take center stage, and they do a really good job of developing them and weaving them into the storyline, and that really worked. Again, it's still a very basic premise and simple story. It's just told better character development, more likable characters in the first one. Yes, the villains are still one note villains, and that's fine. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. And from that standpoint, you may like or not like that his, I guess that's kind of storytelling. What is very simplistic. That's what James Cameron does. The focus is really on the themes, about the spirituality about the film, and humanity and what it does to the planet, yada yada yada. And of course, in this film, family, right? Almost like Fast Five, Fast and Furious here. But that's really the focus here. But again, the star is Pandora. The star is this world that he builds, and how he brings it to life. And it's just, you just kind of just stare at it, and for the 3 hours plus runtime, which is really my biggest complaint. Yeah, the story is simple, but it does work. But ultimately, I think 3 hours is a little bit too long, because he tends to linger in some scenes, particularly in the second act. As beautiful as the underwater scenes are, and they're phenomenal, those could have been scaled back, kind of cut some of the story down. The first act, they probably could have trimmed by 10 minutes and gotten us to what he's escaped to the reef people for assistance. He could have gotten to a lot quicker. The movie probably would have flowed a little better. But that being said, it's still pretty well paced, and the finale is awesome. It's just great, man. A lot of great scenes in there. The emotional parts hit. The action is so well done. That's something that Cameron's always adept at. He's doing good action, and those beats hit. The emotional beats hit. There's really good badass scenes in there. It's a little more graphic than I remember the first one being, to be honest with you, and that's a good thing for me anyway. But overall, this is a fun experience. It's a visual feast, of course. Again, seeing the biggest screen you can as possible. The story, simple, granted, but effective, and overall, I thought it was a much better film than the first one. So if you like the first one, I don't see why you wouldn't like this one. If you didn't care for the first one, I get it. Don't bother watching this one. Again, if you want to see something incredible on screen you don't see all the time, go watch it just for that. Put it on 3D and try to have as much fun as you can. But ultimately, a movie I really liked, not love, but it's really good, fun, entertaining. Definitely recommend it on my end. So if you guys go watch it, comment below, let me know where you guys thought. And of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe below and feed money to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next time.